Rajasthan Royals against Kings 11 Punjab. It's the 40th match of IPL 2018 coming to you from Jaipur. I'm Jason Dacey. Welcome to Matchday Runorder, powered by Techno Mobile, and we can get confirmation of this game. It's actually a rematch between two teams that faced off just a couple of days ago. Of course, Punjab winning that, and the game will start in around 30 minutes' time. Alongside me, I have Gaurav Sundararaman, part of the ESPN Cricket Info stats team, to give perspective on all the stats, and Brad Hogg and Deep Das Gupta. So it's a must-win game, of course, for Rajasthan Royals. Really, Brad, they need to win 5 in a row to be sure of a place in the finals.
Well, they do. I think they're not going to quite get there. I don't think they're playing consistent enough cricket. If you look at their stats, they're losing wickets in those middle periods when they get to a good start, and sometimes they don't even get a good start. And they've just been chopping and changing their batting order, which is, when you do that, you're in a lot of trouble, aren't you?
No, I was just looking at Hoggy is like going rapid fire with that. Yeah, fair enough, sorry.
What, did I get the wrong team or something? You're just jumping on me there.
No, why I say that, because a while ago inside that room off air, you were saying you're going to back RR today.
Come on.
Well, the good news is for them, you know, at Jaipur, they've got a 100% record against Kings 11 Punjab.
Yeah, I mean, this surface suits them a little more than the others. That's what I think. I mean, generally this surface here has a little more carry. The seamers have a little more help here. That's going to be, I think, one of the important things that they would be looking at.
All right, let's have a look at the points table in IPL 2018 and see just how important it is for the Rajasthan Royals. Punjab in 3rd position. So historically, Gaurav, putting this into perspective, it's really an uphill task, isn't it?
It is, but the interesting thing is you have Bangalore, Delhi and Rajasthan at the same spot, and if Mumbai managed to beat Kolkata and Rajasthan pull off a win here, it's a good fight for the 4th spot. As it stands, it looks like the first 3 teams should make it. If Punjab win here, for sure, the top 3 teams will make it. If Punjab slip, then you never know, because they have a couple of tough games coming up. So,
well, let's get confirmation of the record of Punjab against the opposition Rajasthan in Jaipur. It's not a good record. We can see that 4 wins for Rajasthan, 0 for Punjab. How much does this come into it, do you think, Brad, in this game?
It doesn't come into it at all. I wish I played for Rajasthan in those wins. Never got to play against this easy opposition. But look, they're completely different teams. It's been a new auction, and Kings 11 have got a completely new lineup to what they had when they've visited this arena beforehand.
Yep. Well, Rajasthan have won the toss and will bat. They're a team low on confidence, Deep. 3 consecutive losses coming in. What's the thinking behind batting first?
Batting first, I think they don't want that scoreboard pressure on them. If you look at that side, they've done all right, even defending total. So I think that's one of the key areas I think they would be looking at. Listen, I mentioned this last game when RR was featuring, they didn't seem to have that spark. Last game, at least, even though they did not get enough runs batting first, but at least while defending, you could see that spark, that running around thing, and I would like to see that again today. Hopefully they'll get a pass score.
And Hoggy playing again against the same opposition 2 days ago was indoor. You know, how's that going to factor in with today when you're so familiar with your opponents?
Oh, look, they had their chances that last game, but if you look at their death bowling, I think their last overs went for 16, 15 and 14 with 4 balls to go. So, and that's your Jofra Archer. They brought him in because he's the better bowler, better option. He's got pace. He bowls a searing Yorker. He didn't bowl those Yorkers in that last game, and he got met. They actually pounced on him, the Kings 11.
Yep.
So he's got to go back to what he does best in those death overs and bowl those searing Yorkers. That's what he's in there for. And they've really got to get a balanced batting order.
The good part about the last time that these two met was they got through their top order, which has been fabulous for Kings 11. They got into the middle order, they did a lot of damage there, but again, a superb knock from K. Rahul kind of saw Kings 11 through.
All right, let's have a look at the Kings 11 Punjab lineup. I think there are 2 changes, Brad. Maybe we could take a look at what they will do, how they'll line up. Arshdeep Nath comes in alongside Mohit Sharma.
Yeah, Mohit Sharma coming in, that just provides extra pace. I'm not sure about Nath. I'm going to pass that over to you, Deep, because you've got more in-depth knowledge of the Indian batsman.
That's interesting. So Ankit Rajput is replaced by Mohit Sharma. I'm sure it's got to do with injury there, because Ankit's been really good. Also, what Mohit gives you is, death bowling. You know Mohit will bowl a few. Akshdeep is a very good and a talented batsman from UP. He's got a lot of runs this domestic season as well. That's an interesting call from Kings 11, getting Akshdeep not there. I mean, he's a good kid, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes about doing his business.
He actually did play in one of the playoffs last season for Gujarat Lions, and he showed some glimpses. I'm sure this will be a good experience for him, and I don't know where he'll be batting though, because he's replacing Mayank Agarwal, who usually bats at 3. So maybe as a floater, maybe I'm not too sure.
I'm disappointed that they've dropped Mayank Agarwal, because I thought he was going to be man of the match today. I thought he's looked good. He just hasn't got any runs, and you don't know what form you're in when you play some good shots and you get caught. But Rajput, I'm surprised that he's been dropped. Hopefully he's injured, because he provides that extra.
A couple of matches.
He provides that extra bounce, extra pace,
and especially on this surface where there is health, there is movement for the first time.
And he's getting early wickets in that power play and really putting pressure on the opposition. So, very surprised selection there. It's got to be injury.
I guess so. I mean, but again, I agree with Hoggy when he says I was a little surprised that Mayank Agarwal kind of has been benched for this, because I look at him as like, okay, he hasn't capitalized on the opportunities that he's got, but he's had a fantastic season. But again, the challenge is for how long? Where do you draw the line? I guess they've drawn the line here.
Well, let's talk about Sodhi's numbers with him coming in. How do you think he's been performing?
Sorry, who's this?
Sodhi.
Oh, Ish Sodhi. I mean, Ish Sodhi's been good. I mean, he's good for New Zealand with his leg spin and all. Again, the leg spinners or wrist spinners rather, because Hoggy's here, I have to say wrist spinners. They bring a different flavor to a side, and I think look at his numbers. They're really, really good, and he can bat as well. He's not one-dimensional. Obviously, he can bat lower down the order. That's an interesting call, but that's a real interesting call.
It's one of those things. I would have dropped short and brought Lachlan in just to give you that extra pace and batted with Lomra and dropped Singh from the last game. So that's the way I would have gone. Sodhi's had his opportunity. He didn't do well. I don't think he bowled his 4 overs. So that's going to be something that they think of. And they didn't utilise Darcy Short well. Look, he's had his opportunities with the bat, but he's also giving you a second dimension with the ball. They've only used him 1 or 2 games this year. They could have gone in those middle overs, utilised him, and just tried to get a breakthrough when they needed it.
But are you surprised to see Ish Sodhi? I'm
not surprised, but I'm just thinking there's just too many changes of overseas. Then you've got to change your Indian players. I'm just thinking of the balance, the consistency of the team. So I dropped short for Lachlan, and Singh's only played the 1 game. He only bowled the 2 overs and bring in the Indian bat. So you're not really messing your core strength around.
Stuart Binney also comes in for Rajasthan. So what do you think the thinking is there?
It looks like we discussed, they have to change the balance, because you replace Short, you brought in a bowler, which means you need a batsman. I think Mahipal is playing, and they brought in Binney. I'm guessing that's for Anudeep Singh and not Dawal. So maybe they want to lengthen the batting, because I guess
that just tells you what's going on in that camp, right? They have not, after 9 games, they have not figured out what their best playing 11 is, and they're still struggling to find it. I mean, that just kind of sums up the season so far.
Well, they're in a lot of trouble, but I'm just going to throw it back to Kings 11. They've been doing exceptionally well. They're on top of the charts, or they're in top of the 3. Why would you change your batting order? Fair enough, change the bowler if you've got an injury, you have to do that. But why change someone who's actually looked the goods out there, but he's just been a little bit unlucky picking the fielders out in the deep? 4 metres, 5 metres either way, it could be a big score for him. So that's a concern for me for Kings 11 too.
Yeah, indeed. So what else can we look into this lineup? What else would you take away from the selection?
Selection of Rajasthan Royals, I mean, I would actually like to see all the changes there, because it looks like a completely new playing 11. It looks like a completely new playing 11. I think they kind of press the restart button again, and they want to rethink the whole combination.
Well, let's get confirmation of the playing 11 for the Rajasthan Royals for this match. IPL number 40 there in Jaipur, and as you mentioned, they definitely need to win, because if they don't win this, then the maximum points they can get is 14. So they need to get 5 victories. So having a look at that confirmation of that with you, Brad.
Yeah, Stewie Binney opening the batting. Look, I just don't understand that. I hope that's not the right order there because
No,
well, it's
think
not
they've
the order.
dropped Rahul
Thanks, we've just got confirmation from the back studio. It's not the order.
They've dropped Rahul Tripathi finally after 9 matches.
Yeah, but that's pretty tough on him because he's been doing all right in that lower order. There's just been opportunities where the rest of the overseas players haven't done well. So you drop the Indian for a young
quickly,
Hoggy.
Gaurav, just correct me if I'm wrong. One of the wins was because of Tripathi, right? Coming at number 5 and getting this
Exactly
quick fire
right,
runs.
early on.
Early on, wasn't he?
but we've always been talking about which position is right for him, and obviously he did in the middle a couple of games he actually opened also. They tried to open with him, which was his position.
but
Obviously I think there's a lot of uncertainty in that camp.
Yeah, but there's the issue is that middle order's been put under pressure. Now, if you look at that top order, since Butler's gone in there to open, he's up the ante with a little bit of consistency out the top order, but also a good strike rate. If you look at Ajinkya Rahane, he comes in. He's very slow in those first 10 balls. He picks it up in the next 10 balls of his innings. But as soon as that power play stops, his run rate goes down and puts pressure on the likes of Tripathi. So I think it's a little unfair on Tripathi.
Deep, I just have a question for you guys. Do you think is it because of too much spin usage of Punjab? We saw at least 12 overs bowled by spin last match. Maybe
Yes.
Binny is I don't know about Binny and Mahipal, but just to counter
I
that.
just want to jog you guys' memory to the last game, right? What, 157 odd scored, they bowled all right. So the problem wasn't bowling, the problem in fact wasn't batting as such, it's just that the guys who got starts did not capitalize. That does not mean you change 2-3 players in that batting order. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you build on what you've got and then you try and fill up those holes. I mean, this looks like they've completely changed because I was kind of impressed with their performance last game. I know they lost, but I think they made a game out of that 156, 157 that they had got. But suddenly this looks like a different playing 11. I think this is more like pressing the panic button.
If you actually look at that squad, they have 7 bowling options now. All of a sudden, I don't know the reason behind it. That's like 7 proper bowlers. So maybe they're just not confident.
Well, it is. But they tried Stewie Binney. He didn't do well with the bat. And the thing with what Stewie Binney's in there for is his batting, not so much his bowling. So, why go in with someone that hasn't performed with the bat, hasn't played that well in IPL cricket over the last 2 or 3 years? But Tripathi did exceptionally well last year, but he's been put under pressure down that lower order, and normally he opens the batting. So he's played a role in a different position. He's done okay, but he's been put under pressure because of the slow run rate and the poor performance of their overseas batsmen.
All right, time now for our poll, a question relating to the game that we're about to follow. And it's, is it correct to have Sodhi for short? Is it the right move? If you say yes, go to the happy face. And if it's no, it's the angry face. So that's on our Facebook page. All right, time now to get the internship project. Of course, it's all about Jaipur tonight in today's game. So let's now hear from Isha Acton.
That's right, it's time for ESPN Quick Info, the internship. Now today, our intern is speaking to fans in Jaipur, and you might be surprised to see who they're rooting for today. Let's see what he's got for us.
Hi, I'm Piyush and I'm back from Pink City, Jaipur. And it's a very, very important catch for the Rajasthan Royals. They have to win 5 out of 5. But if you're Rajasthan Royal fans, the weather forecast isn't really great. Thunderstorms are forecasted for this game. But our Royal fans are really excited about the other storm, the Gale storm. So how excited you are to see Gale perform today?
We are really excited to see Gale with some big sixes in the tonight game. And let's have he put on a big score on the scorecard. Let's hope for the best. And in the end, Rajasthan should win, definitely.
So what do you think, how many sixes he's going to hit today?
We're not going to accept less than 10 sixes.
8 से 10 छक्के तुम्हारे 7 से 8 छक्के आने चाहिए.
So let's hope Rajasthan wins today.
Rajasthan, go Royals!
Well, rivalries aside, everyone is always excited to see a Gale storm, right? Get your weather forecast ready because we're in for another thrilling game. That's all from ESPN Quick Info, the internship.
Thank you very much, Isha. All right, let's talk more about the Rajasthan Royals' woes. They've been the worst bowling side, I think, statistically, and also in the middle overs, they really tend to struggle deep. They need to correct that tonight.
They need to. I mean, there's no two ways. They're not just these two aspects. There are a lot more aspects with RR this season, at least. The reason for the middle order woes is because you're not having enough wickets in hand, and your top order in scoring that many runs. So it is like a domino effect that you have. As in terms of bowling as well, I think the bowling was kind of sorted with Jofra Archer coming in. I think they did all right in the last game as well. But yeah, I mean...
it's almost like they're losing a wicket every 12 balls in the middle overs, especially in the matches they've lost, which has been pretty critical to their... like Hoggy said sometime back, they start well and then they all taper down. And even if you look at their strike rates individually...
No, that's where, Gaurav, my point is, if you're going to make openers play in the middle order, you will always have that issue, right? That's the reason in the preview mentioned, and in fact both of us mentioned, instead of short, get someone like Klaasen in, who is a middle order batsman, he knows how to play those middle overs, and then you have enough openers to replace short at the top. So Rahane, who batted at 3, straight away goes to open with Butler, isn't that right?
Yeah, well, exactly right. You had Butler in that middle order, and when they picked their team, they didn't really look out positions. They just thought, right, these guys are power gun batters. Right, we can open with these two, and we can utilise those guys down the bottom. So you have Butler, Tripathi down that lower order when they should be opening the batting. But you've also got Short and Ajinkya Rahane who can't bat in that middle order. So their selections out the auction table probably aren't justified as we've seen throughout this IPL. And Sanju Samson, he's got to bat 3. Yeah. He's probably been the pick of the batsman this year. I've been very impressed with him since he first came in the IPL. So he's the standout for me, but just their selections out the auction table have caused this problem.
Yeah. Just to go on the same point as what Hoggy said, I pulled up some numbers about the first 10 balls and how the Rajasthan batsmen go, especially the openers. So if you look at Butler and Rahane, you can see how the 115, 131, yes, the Butler's pretty good, but after 30 balls, in fact, it comes down for Butler. Whereas for Rahane, it just keeps tapering down, barring that 11 to 20 mark. So the longer they bat, it's actually good for the opposition. That's what this kind of the story tells. Whereas if you look at a guy like Rohit, he's completely opposite of this. So it's interesting. So if there's too much of dot ball pressure with this kind of lineup, you might see wickets fall, and that could be a reason why the middle overs have been failing.
Yeah, or can we get those stats back up there, please? Because if you look at it, Ajinkya Rahane at the start, there will be a lot of spin there. He's not very dominant against spin. Then the pace comes on after that third over. That's where he can clear that infield. If you look at Josh Butler there, it's generally pace in that power play where he dominates. Every now and then he gets on top of a spinner, but once that 6 over period comes down, when he's facing spin after those 30 balls, that's where he slows down. He's not as dominant as spin. And Ajinkya Rahane, he's just a small man. When the field goes out, he can't find the boundaries. He can't clear the boundaries as well. And that's where their downfall is, those two particular batsmen after the 30th ball.
And the same thing, I've also done the same for the Punjab openers. You can see the contrast.
Gale
and Rahul.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They've obviously been Gale, we all know, starts slowly, but then both of them have kind of gone berserk. Rahul, yes, I guess he has to play the kind of an anchor now, because we saw what he did the previous game based on the situation. So maybe that's why the 21 to 30 slightly on the lower side, but otherwise I think both of them are in great form, and Punjab might be again dependent on these two.
Yes. That's why one team's third and one team's 8th, right?
Exactly right.
Fair point. But going back to Rajasthan and their strategy, I think Rahane, I don't mind him having that kind of a strike rate as long as he's there till the 12th, 13th, 14th over at least. Then what happens is then you give license to someone like Josh Butler, Sanju Samson to at least play freely and try and get as many as possible and at a higher strike rate. But the issue with RR that has happened is Rahane has not fired. That is what Rahane has been doing for RR over the years. He's not striking at 150, 160, he's striking at 120, 130, but he would be there for the 11th, 12th, 13th over for everyone else to kind of play around him. And Rahane not scoring this year has kind of hit that batting lineup.
The thing is too, but if he gets out of that power play and his strike rate goes down, if he's taking up dot balls as well, not rotating the strike, it puts pressure on those other batsmen that are meant to be attacking. If he's going to do that role, he's got to make sure he doesn't have any dot balls, he rotates a strike. Because he can't afford to have 3 balls where they haven't scored. because that's where all the wickets fall.
So that's the reason I think in the dugout situation like we are right now. So you speak to everyone and say like, this is your job, and you know this, Augie, as anyone else, as better as anyone else. Role definition is the key in this format because it's such a fast-paced format. You don't have time to think too much. So role definition is very, very important. This is your role. This is your role. This is what you need to do. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You know, from that perspective, I think there's a lot of overlapping in this batting lineup or this 11 for that matter.
And ironically, if you look at Punjab, it's a complete opposite in the sense Rajasthan have a strong team throughout, but they haven't performed as a unit, and we've seen these kind of chinks. Whereas if we look at Punjab, you see Gayle and Rahul. So this is another graphic where they've actually contributed 45 more runs per match for the team, whereas the other top order batsmen have reduced. This is using our Cricinfo Smart Stats metric. The other batsmen, the other top order batsmen have actually scored minus 30. That is, the team runs have come down by 30 per game. So you can see obviously Gayle and Rahul are compensating for that, so they don't feel that, and that shows in the results. So it's funny that we have two really star players and the others just hanging along them, carrying them along. Whereas in Rajasthan we do not have the Gales and the Rahuls.
Yeah, but we've got to be careful with that because Naya has played some exceptional roles where he's actually won the match for them as well with Rahul. So, you know, those stats do say something, but not the total picture because of Naya. The other batsmen just haven't stepped up, and we talked about Agarwal. He's looked good, just he's been hitting the fielders. But going back to Rahul too, that middle period where his strike rate 21 to 30 balls of 122, that's when Gale's either going or Gale's out.
Yeah.
So he's playing that role well. I'm just going to stay here, stay in, because if Gale gets out, then I can up the ante with my new partner, or I've got a new partner in about that 7th, 8th over. We're going to capitalise, turn it around, and I'm going to pick my time and my bowlers that I'm going to go after. And he's a really smart cricketer, and that's why he's back in the T20 Indian team and the one-dayers as well.
Well, let's get the result to our first poll question, and that was about the change that we saw in the lineup. Sodhi for short. It's 50-50 that whether it's the right move
A lot of Aussies
or
in
not.
there.
So that's split down the middle. Thank you for
I'll
your
tell you who
comments.
that is. There's only two voters there. That's the Short family and the Sodhi family.
All right, let's get our second poll question relating to match number 40 from IPL 2018. Is it going to be Rajasthan Royals or is it going to be Kings 11 Punjab who will get the victory? It's a must-win for the Rajasthan Royals there in Jaipur. So any more thoughts, Deep, about the way this game is going to unfold?
Like I said, I think a lot of it depends or boils down to how Rahane is going to pace his innings and what his role is. Butler will play the way he does, and I would expect the others to do it. But looking at that RR playing 11, it just tells me that they're not sure about their individual roles and what is expected of them. And after 9 games, if you're not sure of your playing 11, you can be unsure about a couple of positions. You can be unsure about, okay, who's going to bat in the middle order or who's going to be your death over bowler. But when you're making so many changes in the 9th game, or rather the 10th game, those aren't good pre-game signs for me. I hope they finally find the right combination, but that's more hoping, wishful thinking than...
Well, sorry to interrupt, but what about pace against spin in Jaipur and R. Ashwin's tactics? Because he's done it very well.
Looking at the stats, definitely in the power play, I think they've got to open up with spin, especially in those first 3 overs. They've got to get 3 overs out of the spinners. Those stats, what they tell me is, if we look at it, if you break down the overs, the first 3 overs, pace and spin bowl the same. But it's in that 4th, 5th and 6th over in the power play where the pace attack bowl the majority of overs, and that's where batsmen capitalise. So I'm thinking on a strategy type scenario, I'd go spin for that little extra over and just try and change up the makeup of what the opposition are thinking. Because spin out in this venue generally dominates in that power play. It's hard to get under the ball. the ball skids on rather than turning. So it's very hard to read the ball off the pitch.
And the other day, if you actually notice at indoor, Ashwin bowled, he started off, then he gave the second over to Rajput. Rajput got hit, then he bowled continuous overs of spin because he didn't want Butler to get going. It was very evident that Butler was weak, slightly weaker against spin. But Rahane, they managed to get him out. But he's the one who actually plays spin very well in that top lineup. So again, today they would be hoping for Rahane to bat. We did see him score a lot of runs against Narain in Jaipur. So KKR tried the same strategy. So I'm very curious to see what kind of strategy Ashwin goes in this ground. But having Tai and Mohit now, I think it makes sense only to go with spin.
Oh, well, that's probably why Moa's been in there. I think they've probably looked at these stats and gone, right, hang on, Rajput's not really a death bowler. We're going to go with spin up front because we've only really got 2 spin options, and we've got the 2 sensational death bowlers of Mohit Sharma and AJ Tai, and they're going to use them in the latter overs. So that could have been a match-up. But going back to Kings 11 too, with their change of Nath to Agarwal, if they're going to make a change, they've got to do it now leading into the playoffs because they've only got to really win 2 more games to get in there. So they've got to find that consistency. They've sort of got that luxury to do it now, but they can't chop and change. They've got to go with one or the other.
And with Mohit and Tai, I expect a lot of slow balls. I think this venue is a bigger venue as well. I think they're going to bowl a lot of slow balls and making it harder.
That's why I guess Rahane would be the key here.
Well, that's going to be a great battle, isn't it? Ashwin against Rahane could decide this match. Let's have a look at the stats for that because it's going to be intriguing to see how that unfolds. 2 key players on opposing sides there in Jaipur. So, Gaurav, what can we read into this?
Yes, so Ashwin will open if he has the better numbers against Rahane. It's actually good for Punjab because you have Butler the other end who doesn't have a great record against spin. So Ashwin, Mujib, don't forget Mujib. He's been instrumental in their success, and they obviously couldn't read him. I expect them to attack Mujib a lot today because we saw what happened. Maybe play a lot of reverse sweeps. They'll definitely come because very rarely you have back-to-back matches like this. So that's fresh in their mind. That strategies. It's a chance that there's some amount of the same strategy being used.
What's the average score here batting first? Around 170?
It's just 3 games are there. It's about 165 because there was 1 bad performance by Rajasthan. And Sunrisers defended a low score as
because
well. So.
The pitch is good. It's a biggish ground. So the key here is not going to be only boundaries. It's going to be a lot of running between the wicket. That's where I think Rajasthan can be smart about it and play accordingly.
I don't think they'll be too worried about Jinka Rahane because he's got a slow run rate. What they'll be hoping is, well, not really hoping, but if they're going to lose wickets, they still want a Jinka Rahane out there because they know that he puts pressure on the other batsmen to have to play more aggressive cricket to up the ante because of his slow strike rate.
All right, quick predictions and the score for this first innings.
Whoa, predictions. I mean, I'm going to go with Kings 11. I'm not too sure about Rajasthan's playing 11, but I hope Rahane gets some runs. I hope they show some spark, as I mentioned the last game as well. But yeah, I mean, as far as score is concerned, see, I'm looking at 160, 165.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned with Rajasthan Royals with the way that they've changed their lineup. And my heart says Rajasthan because I've played for them, but on paper I've got to go Kings 11. So my mind's actually telling me, right, hang on, get it out of the heart there and go Kings 11.
All right, let's get the results to another poll question. Thank you for all your comments and your votes via our Facebook page. Well, it's very one-sided. Rajasthan to win 86%. They really have to win, and only 14% for
everybody
Punjab.
Wants a close tournament, I guess.
That's a surprise, isn't it?
Everyone wants the tournament to be alive.
Well, if they're going to win, Stokes has got to lift tonight and Butler's got to make a big score.
And just another reminder about the Tata next on one-handed catch. You can win 1 lakh rupees. Just get a clean one-handed catch at one of these IPL matches, and it could be just like Brad Hogg.
No, here,
Okay.
Can we catch? I've made that. You are a bit of a cricketer. You weren't lying about your batting expertise, were you?
I'm bowling all round a bit like you, mate. All right, thank you very much to our experts, including Gaurav. Enjoy the match. It's going to be a big one from Jaipur.